the
The same,
intention. Like
yeah, the same
that's so weird to
emotion,
me.
the same emotion that that Rodney
Time out,
pointed out in
time out,
my
time out, time out, time out. I'm
uh
sorry because the reason why I'm asking is I think that they have us going back and forth on this conversation
yeah,
versus talking about them
I was
and what
getting there.
is their agenda. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The same emotion that Rodney pointed out in, that I was saying in like in speaking my case about it or my views about it is the same exact fucking emotion that they're using to actually pass legislation. So they're not being logical. It's not like
Mm,
they're winning the game by being logical. You actually don't win the game by being logical. So
mm.
what they're playing on is control and fear. If they can control the narrative,
It's
which they're
it's like to
doing,
push people the way that they
hmm
wanna go, and that shows that I still have control.
and they had that whole the fucking bathroom bill, like what was that, 3 4 years ago? It was literally the same type of controlling shit when all the niggas in any house that I've ever lived in use the same bathroom. It's really not that serious, but they
Mm,
made it that serious by trying to
mm.
say that these trans people are like, they demonized them. In all honesty, they were like, they're
So
gonna rape your daughters, they're gonna be out here doing this, that, and the third,
so
all of that.
it goes back to the whole divide and conquer situation.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. That shit is wild to me because Rodney, like when you hear that, bro, how does that make you feel? Because that looks more like realistic than anything, dog. Because
Because
they
it
don't.
is true. It's true, and that's the problem. Like
Yeah,
it's like on one end, it is some issues. I'm black. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna
And
try to get
first
somebody
off,
else in
being
here.
black is already, already comes with its issues, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when we start talking about the terminology and what we identify as, black people already have identity problems. But when we talk about identity, I feel like it's almost where we have to be real fluid. And so it's almost to affect to me, it's like, does it matter what we call ourselves? And then if it does, then we all
Okay.
have to identify as the same thing to be considered what human? What is the terminology? What are we?
Well, this is the thing. Well, this is what I see from your point. In a logical lens, Desiree, if you take the majority of disenfranchised people, right, and you break them up into a pie chart, and you have them starting to sub identify, then you take them out of the bigger picture of what the whole point is to begin with, which is what we've been talking about this whole time. The power is being conserved and it's not being shared fluidly or fairly, I guess you would say. Or let's not even say that. It's just being systematically held on to.
And can I don't know, well, what I heard in like your pie chart example was that like those sub segments, like the existence of those sub segments kind of alter where the oppressed group can focus. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's actually been to our detriment. And I'm speaking about black people because I care about black people. I think
Mm-hmm.
the subsegment of black people that are wanting better, quote unquote, for us as a whole, that will still turn around and demonize another black person that looks like them because they identify differently or they love differently. That I think is actually the issue. We're
I
so
see
much
your point.
stronger, and the
I see.
people, in all honesty, the people that are actually in the streets doing the work to better these things, to make sure that we have farms, to make sure that we aren't all in fucking food deserts, like these are queer people.
Can I come
Like,
in? Can I
mhm,
interject? All right, Desiree. I'm with all that, right? And my ideology is black first, right? Like if I'm black, black first, regardless of all the other stuff, right? But my issue is that we don't have a definition of what black means. And I feel like if we had a love of our own, all the sexuality and all the stuff wouldn't matter because we're for ourselves first. But does that get into the territory of black supremacy that they like to use? You know what I'm saying? Like we're
no.
not protecting our own regardless of sexuality. And that's the issue.
And that's the
Yes.
point that
We try
she's making as well.
But how do we
Hmm.
combat that without the terminology getting in the way?
This is okay. Go ahead,
I
Desiree.
think these conversations are important. I think I do want to talk more about your feeling about about us even needing to define what blackness is, because that feels like, I don't know, my identity as a black person is like spiritual more than it is even like on my outside, like, so that's
Same.
like a whole different thing. But I
No, same.
do think that
Can I
I don't
even
think that
pause
the
you right
terminology
there?
has to get in the way. I think
Can I even
we
pause you
can.
right there, ma'am?
Yeah.
If the general black people are identified as Christians, and a lot of people, it's a certain sect that identify as spiritual.
Hmm.
How do we even bridge that gap? Like even the spiritual religion thing is a big divide.
I see his point too.
And I will admittedly say that
So okay, I'll say no. I'll admittedly say that means that Christianity needs to be destroyed because
Really, real talk.
that's the wall. The
Cause
wall
spirit,
is not the spiritual people saying that they won't be inclusive with people that believe in Jesus or whatever their belief is. The wall is the Christianity which we know was not created by us, and it creates a barrier between anybody that looks like us but doesn't identify with it. In a sense, you have some that are starting to be more progressive towards accepting other ideologies and beliefs, but for the most part, and especially in the past, that wasn't tolerated.
the
And
spirituality
it,
is the understanding of all things. That's
hmm
what it
right,
is. Like if you're spiritual, you probably can understand where everyone is coming from. And I think that's the issue. Because we're
I
all
do too.
interconnected. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't have somebody going through some issue over here and don't think it affects you. And that's
Yeah, that's one of the biggest weapons that we already knew that. We already know that. That's probably one of the reasons why we identify with it the way we do. But now it's showing, now that we've all of us have lived long enough and experienced and stood on our truth long enough, we see for a fact how it affects other parts of life.
yeah,
And that's
specifically the
crazy.
politics. And that's the
Specifically the
politics.
politics. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes,
Politics, as
sir.
they like to say.
Politics for real. And I think that's one of the main reasons why, I would have to go deeper into that, but I would just say I feel like that's why I don't get into them at all, because I
And
know it's a byproduct of the same fucking
let me go
thinking.
deeper, a deeper thought, right? This is probably also why a lot of them ancient knowledge was oral and not written down.
Hmm.
hmm
Just think
And why
about
you
it.
say
Yeah,
that? Well, what's your
Because
point?
what's
I
written
feel
down
that.
in text, you can
You
change the
can
meaning.
manipulate. Yes, sir.
But if
Yes,
something is
sir.
shared, you already have an
You
understanding.
gotta
You have to
feel it.
pass that on. You have to pass
Yes,
it on.
sir.
It's already. That's why they say what's understood don't need to be said.
And listen, the same thing that we're discussing and we have conflict with and we're talking about combating, it's not written down. White supremacy is not written down, it's passed on.
That's
Hmm
why it's so
It's
hard to
taught in the
identify.
household. That's why it's hard to fucking highlight. That's why some people don't think it exists, bro.
Hmm
That's crazy. That was a good point. And
You're
I
not
think
allowed to
that
call someone a racist because
right.
it's not anything
Well, people are
concrete.
someone called me racist last night. And I'm like, what? I was
Was
like,
it a
do
black
you know
person?
what that means? No, but it was a person of color. And I'm like,
But
stop
those are
doing that.
very
Like,
different.
And see, you
Rodney
just
had the
said person of
question.
color.
Yeah, Rodney
See,
had the question that mattered. Okay, so I don't want to. I don't want to get us on a tangent or anything.
it was
But
a
there is
non-white person,
a non-black person.
a non-black person. I like that. I like that.
If you're not black, being black, and this is
Is
also
the
what Rodney was talking about. Like
yeah,
it's something that like is just fucking understood. So like
right.
if you ain't it and you say some off the wall shit, I don't
no,
care
no.
how
Everyone
colored you are.
No, I said, was it a black person?
Yeah.
no. She's saying, yeah, that's not what we're talking about. She's saying that like when I said person of color,
Oh,
that's
okay, yeah,
another a
okay, yeah,
weapon used
yeah.
against us because when you're black, you know you're black. I just had this conversation with her last night, and especially being in an interracial relationship for so
Well,
long. Nah, bro. Listen, G. Like just my personal experience. I'm not saying anything is fact here, but being in an interracial relationship for so long and like people that are not white want to identify with black
It's actually time to be black.
until they
right,
realize they're not
right,
black.
Yeah.
Soon as they
right.
realize they're not black, they're like, "Oh shit, like okay, I'm gonna slide in this area because I can go here and that person can't." And that's what she's saying. Like all black people know we only got one area. And
Mhm.
and this is the area that we're trying to stand up for right now and define.
Well, see, this is also the thing that Dr. Nelly Fuller Jr. presents. He suggested that we use the term white and non-white to separate all of that, because you know if you're white or not. Whether
Mm-mm.
you're black,
I,
that
I think that's
varies.
still
Whether you're
confusing. I
African,
think we
that
should use
varies.
black
Whether you're
or
Latin,
non-black.
that varies.
I'm down with black or non-black.
I think black or non-black is more
Black or non-black.
yes
Mhm.
sir, black or non-black, bro,
What
because
is
you're
black?
you're still you're still
What
focusing
is
first of
white?
all exactly.
Well,
That's
we're
what
not the
that's my
people who
point.
define that. We're not the people empowered to define that.
But
White
we
people are the people who
we
But that
call
can't
it
doesn't
for
that.
mean that we
ourselves.
can't.
We can't
And
for ourselves though,
exactly.
Rodney. And that's what we're doing now. See, like, and I'm just saying, like, from my perspective on everything, like I always throw that L word out, but that's where I'm at. I even showed it earlier in the stream. Logically speaking, you're already focused on the wrong way. You need to be focused on you and what is not you, not what is someone else and what is not them. That's the only mistake I think that he made in terminology. I think that he would agree with us if he
So
heard
what is
that.
black then?
That's where we're getting to. I think that's the next conversation that we have.
Yeah. And I would
That's
think I'd I'll just preface that conversation with saying I don't think that we need to define it because what has
Uh
happened,
oh.
what's continuing to happen
Uh oh.
now, is we define shit for ourselves and it gets stolen. I think if we actually just invest in doing the shit and being in community with each other, making sure that each other is good, holding each other accountable, I think that that needs to be where the focus is versus trying to explain who we are to the rest of the world. They know who the fuck we are. We've
No, they.
literally been the culture makers for I don't even know how fucking long.
I
they
do not
definitely know
agree.
who.
We don't
No,
own our
they
shit, but they know who the fuck we
fam, they
are.
I
know
do
who
not
we are.
agree. Let
Fam,
me
they
mute
know who
myself.
we are. That's how they re-engineered and reverse engineered us to begin with. You can't fucking divide us the way we've been divided, fam, without knowing who we are, G. Like literally, like you cannot break up families. You can't create government assistance programs. You can't use the term white supremacy and systematic racism and say that they don't know who we are.
Mhm. I
That's
think
what the
that's a
system is set up
burden.
for. Like the system is set up for who we are, for who we were at first, and then to who they turned us into as a group. What are your thoughts on that, Fly? You want to
Um,
sleep on it?
no, I don't have to sleep on anything that I'm studying.
Right.
Um, I feel like it's kind of problematic because we was conditioned to be in a position where we don't know our identities.
Mhm.
So yeah, they probably do know who we are, but we definitely don't.
Yeah, so that,
So
that
that's why
that's a
I feel.
different.
But to put it back
Okay.
on Desiree, I feel that's why I feel like it's necessary to define whatever black in black culture is, because when you talk to some black people and they're African or know where they from, they know what that culture is over there.
Mhm.
And so what I'm noticing right now in the now, it's a distinction between African Americans and African in anybody who has a actual geographical location that they came from that's not America. They have a sense of self. And I feel like people who was born in America
Ooh.
and of or America, they have a certain it's something that's missing. Like it's an untangible that they just can't identify with themselves.
It's
And
That
I
to
first
think
what?
that's
house,
the problem of slavery and the race
Yeah.
mixing and all
they
the other
took that
stuff.
first house away from us, fam.
And you don't want to talk about white people, but when you talk to white people, they have no problem calling themselves Irish, Jewish,
because they know
Scottish.
that. I
You
don't
feel
I
me?
think
Yes.
I completely feel you, and I think that your question is coming from, or is in a lot of ways, at least where it connected to for me, was like that kind of yearning to just want to fucking know
Heal, to
and
want to heal.
heal. And that I think is
To
beautiful. But I
know, to
also think
know and
that
heal.
that burden is not for us to have to bear. I'm fortunate in that I have a family of storytellers. So I have like photos, I have letters, I have all types of shit from like people that came before me. But that's not the fucking norm. And if I didn't have that, I would need to, you have to, I think it's important that Black people find our home within ourselves. So within ourselves, as in like our own bodies, and within ourselves, within our own
So when you talk
immediate
about
family.
photos, like are you
Hmm.
identify with a particular tribe, or are you just talking about who your great grandparents are?
Literally just knowing who my great grandparents are, where they were from, where they worked, where they lived their lives. That to me is enough because
Well,
that's
for
all
me,
I
it's
have.
not. For me, it is not. So what does
And
that
you
put me as
can
a black
spend your,
person?
I mean, you can dwell in that
It's not a dwell. Uh, I
because there's no way
recently,
to find it out
Hold
unless
on,
you,
well,
one
unless.
person at a
it,
time.
it
One person at a time. Let Fly go real quick.
Mhm.
I feel it probably is a way to find out. It depends on if you believe the information you receive, right? They have the ancestry.com, but then they also say that's not good. You got to try African ancestry.com. So it just
Mhm.
depends on which one you believe first off, but it is a way to find out. Because again, when you talk to certain white people, they know their bloodline and their lineage,
I
And
and
think
we
the
what?
don't.
position of power. I'm gonna let you take the floor right after this, Desiree. I think the position of power is not going in the past at all, and also not going in the future because it's not here yet. And being present with the conversation that we're having, and like everyone has said on here, s- finding some type of framework for community is definitely necessary. And I think that we haven't done it as a collective progressive enough to know what the byproduct of that would look like and what that would feel like, Rodney. So that might be the healing trauma that you need because, like you just said, bro, you just talked about writing shit down and twisted artifacts. So technically, you're not going to get to that anyway. But I would say, theoretically speaking, with everything that you just said, knowing that you belong to a community and hearing like Desiree or different things like that will give you that. I'll put it in because I also use astrology for this stream. It'll give you that fourth house of home, of spiritual home, of knowing that like you belong somewhere and that you're not fucking an outcast in this land that you were dragged to. Desiree.
I, for one, I feel like I already know a little bit too much of white people's business, so I don't actively like care about what white people are
You a
doing or
secret
saying.
agent, low key. For real.
So I, that's one point. And my second point is both of the ancestry things that you named, I've done. I did the African one. I know on my mom's side, we came from the Fulani tribe in Cameroon. And I did the ancestry one which I already knew the background of that because I know, thankfully, my parents' background. So
How do they
given,
prove that though? Are they using a computer? Like that's the reason why that's all bullshit to me. It's like, bro, if I didn't see you track down my ancestors, the type of person that I am, especially understanding communication and understanding some people just hope and wish and want to
mhm,
believe in something, man, I can write down anything. So that's the point that I'm trying to make about the past. It's like that shit's really not gonna help you much when you're going through their systems and processes to get there. You
yeah.
know, it's the same fucking situation, bro. As you knowing your name ain't real. You know, like
And
especially
I
like
was
the
getting there, but
okay,
I was getting there
my bad.
because I don't know how accurate the shit is. All I know is I did the shit. It Nothing about it makes me feel more connected to my past in any way. The times when I feel most connected to my blackness, to myself, to my soul is when I'm with the people that I love. Period. There's
Exactly.
nothing
That goes for
outside of
anyone.
that.
No one can
Yeah.
dispute that.
There's nothing
Now,
outside of that that's gonna make any part of us feel whole.
I'm with that perspective. It's something that can't be quantified because you're talking about emotion,
Hmm.
and that's another way that niggas try to trick you. But bro, that goes for everybody. Like that's the reason why people want to know their lineage to begin with, is because when you're around that feeling, it's fulfilling. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So yeah. This was a really good talk. My laptop's about to die. Uh I really want to pick up on this though. Actually, I don't know what you all's week is looking like. I'll get what y'all offer here, but I want to pick up. I wrote down a lot of notes on some things that y'all brought up. I definitely want to tackle what is black. What is black culture? I have this imaginative, creative way to actually find out. I want to see how you all feel about it, but I want to make sure that I ask it live on the stream. So I'm gonna save it. And yeah, do y'all have any like closing remarks or anything?
Since I thought we had some time, I told you about this. Don't get me in deep conversation and cut me off. You said you had time and your laptop's about to die. That's a
Yeah,
different conversation, but
it
Hmm.
is.
Desiree, I would definitely like to go further into that conversation. For one,
Same.
since you already took the test and I'm thinking about taking it, and then for
Hmm.
two, you said you didn't
Okay.
feel no connection to that whatsoever, and I think
Yeah,
that's something we need to have a whole conversation about in general,
for sure.
because I don't know, when I look at African people, it's something, right? I'm sure we just
Hmm.
being black in America has its own issues, but it's something about them. Like I don't know if it's the
Well,
language or the
well, yes, you got language, and then Rodney, you also got the migration. We didn't we us our generation of
We were
being black
stolen.
Americans, we haven't migrated together. These motherfuckers migrate together. Even if they don't speak the same language, they know what it took to get here. So they share that. Just like immigrants in the Hispanic community. Just like immigrants in the Irish community. It's like that story, like you said, that audible story of nigga, my grandpa and them hopped on a boat or they swam over here to make sure that we got a better life. So it's already me against where I'm headed because I got to make sure that that shit works out. And I think that's the mentality that we're starting to develop here together, like us three, is like just identifying what is the external force and us coming together to fight against that motherfucker versus saying, all right, I'm gonna individually do this on my own and hopefully I can help motherfuckers later. You know what I mean? Because them immigrants don't work like that, fam. Like they
I
get
think we
each other
lost
on.
Rodney.
Oh,
I don't see him on here.
I
Yeah,
ain't got a little Amber Alert too. I don't know if that's why I lost that nigga, but
probably.
this was a really good conversation. I didn't expect it to go here at all either.
Me
It's
neither.
crazy. It's crazy how well I'm glad that you got a chance to see why I consider Rodney a friend. Like we've been talking like
Hmm.
this for 11, 12 plus years. He'll stand on his opinions too. I love that about him. And articulate them like with purpose and intellect.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro.
are you guys
I
talking
was
about me?
Yeah.
yeah, I was. You'll be able to see it on YouTube.
He's
Everybody,
talking
subscribe
cash
to the.
shit.
Yeah, we was talking about how we don't like you, but
I
subscribe
ain't
to
feel
the
bad.
YouTube. Like, comment. We'll pick this back up as soon as I know. I might start making flyers or announcements or something when we do this because there's some shit that people do gotta hear. Although I'm not gonna be a hypocrite, Rodney. If people
Yeah,
gravitate to it, they do. If they don't, they don't. You feel me?
right. And I don't like people talking behind my back. So y'all really not
Oh
gonna tell me
my
what y'all said. I
god.
really gotta go
It's
listen.
it's
It's
recorded,
recorded.
so it's not
It's
behind
gonna
your back.
be immediately up after this. That I can go
Yeah,
skip this and
I'm
watch
about
it.
yeah, I'm about to. I think the live actually you can go to my Facebook page and watch right now, but Um, I'm about to chop up some clips on it, and I'll be uploading the full video while I do that. So I'll let you
Cool.
know,
Yeah,
and
I
then
hate I
y'all
was
let me
cut
know when
off,
y'all free.
When
Yeah,
but
I
I
you
don't really.
talking
appreciate the
about marriage,
conversation.
Um,
Marriage,
yeah, he said marriage. We can
that's a
do
whole different
marriage.
conversation.
It's a whole different
that's
conversation.
what I thought I was talking about tonight. So I was like
I
prepared for
know,
that.
I know.
Ooh, really? I
Let's
didn't get no
Yeah,
see.
itinerary.
I got you
yeah.
from now on,
I
Mister
got
Rodney.
pull up,
I,
which I don't mind at all. I'm prepared for most conversations.
you are. That's what we was talking about behind your back too, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah. So y'all just let me know your availability this week, and I
You
mean,
know
if
my
y'all free,
availability.
yeah, I know yours, but I don't know Rodney's. So if y'all are free, bro, we can get this in. I told you I'm gonna do this every day this week for sure. From let me see, from 6 to 9, and my laptop will be charged.
Allegedly.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
Uh-huh.
All right, so just let me know, Rodney, and I'm about to wrap this up because I'm ready to get this up.
All right. Cool.
I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Peace, Desiree. Peace,
Bye.
Vince.